Generally speaking, what's coffee? Where does it come from, really? What is it? Again, it's a seed of a coffee cherry. It's called the coffea plant. Literally, when it's ripe, it looks like a cherry. It's red when it's ripe. So that's when you know how to pick it, as you wait till the cherry ripens. You can only grow it, I don't have a map, but only around the band around the equator from, I wrote it down here, Cancer to Capricorn, which we all know. I think it's about 20 degrees off of the equator, because you need particular climate. It's a combination of warmth and it needs to be a little bit dry, and then also elevation. So it tends to be mountain grown. Now you can see the true tropics there. That's right. That's what they're called, the tropics. 129 species identified. Only 2 primarily are grown commercially, or matter commercially, right? One is called Arabica, and the other is called Robusta. Arabica is generally considered the higher quality, and Robusta is the less. Arabica is actually a subspecies or genome, I can't remember, of Robusta. So it was bred over time for its flavor and quality. So Robusta tends to be actually a little bit more robust, both in flavor but also from disease and pests and other kinds of things, which we can talk about if you want. All right. Again, second most traded commodity after oil. Wow. Yeah, isn't that something? And 2 primary markets, commodity, which is what most people drink, and then we're going to talk today about specialty, all right, which I would say focuses on quality, where the coffee comes from, and I think economically too, supporting those farmers in growing higher quality coffee. Because it's just like any kind of commodity. I mean, you could do this with food commodities, right? It's like, is the corn that you grow in your garden going to be better than the corn you would buy at the store? Probably. Both the soil, and you're probably not going to put pesticides and herbicides on it and that kind of thing. And you're going to care for it, right? And if something doesn't turn out, you're going to throw it instead of just mixing it in. So the same thing happens with coffee. There's coffee that goes to market, and then there's coffee that's bagged and freighted specifically to importers and roasters because of its quality. So we're going to focus on the latter because commodity, you can go anywhere to learn about commodity coffee. I want to know where the coffee came from. I want to know about the farmer. I'd like to know how it was produced and processed, and that it was preserved in quality all the way till it came to my door.
Yeah, I see Hawaii is in there because Hawaii makes coffee. Right?
Hawaii does have coffee. Most of their coffee doesn't get exported.
Oh,
yeah.
Kona, right?
Yeah, they call it the Kona coffee. Almost no real Kona coffee leaves Hawaii. You can pretty much only drink it there. So Hawaii, Ethiopia is that way too. That most of the Ethiopian coffee stays in Ethiopia. They drink that much coffee. That most of what they grow, they drink. And Ethiopians are some of my favorite coffees. So that means you end up paying a little bit more because there's not as much available. They don't roast it the way we roast it, though. They like to roast it much darker than I would, but we can talk about that when we get to that. Maybe a nice analogy when you think about specialty coffee is wine stick, but the number of volatile, like flavor and aromatic compounds in coffee compared to wine, it's about 10x. There's that much more diversity in coffee flavor, aroma than there is in wine. And wine can be varied quite a bit. Yeah. Growing season, terrain, rain, lack of rain, sure. You know. So yeah, you trade vintages of coffee, right? You'll say, oh, that's 2022 or something, right? Because that was the year where everything was magical and it just worked.
Yeah. You have a special room in your house then where you store the different vintages too?
I don't store vintage coffee. Some people do. You can't store it once it's roasted. It will not, despite what people say, put it in the freezer and all that, it doesn't really extend the life very much at all. So what some roasters do, if they have a really great coffee, is they'll vacuum pack and flash freeze the green coffee before it's roasted, and then they can roast it in years down the line. But that's expensive too, because you need freezer space, right? So that's pretty rare. That would have to be a really magical coffee to do that. But some are starting to do that. So And that'll probably actually, with things like tariffs, but also higher demand, coffee's in higher demand than it has been. That might actually end up happening more often. People will reserve coffees like that.